Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Dr. Gevrik. We are today starting Empirical Tools of Public Finance. Empirical Tools of Public Finance uses data and statistical tools to understand the role of government in the economy. So let's get started. And we are going to start with part one. The biggest bulk of work we do in empirical public finance is to differentiate between correlation and causation. Okay, so as I said, empirical public finance uses data and statistical methods to measure the impact of government policy on individuals and markets on the economy. Okay, so for instance, we could be studying the magnitude of labor supply response from an unemployment benefits cut. Okay, so let's say we are cutting the unemployment benefits on workers. Let's say we are only paying $100 per week, which is very low. Okay, so if you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics unemployment benefits rate, it depends on your earnings and there's a cap, but it's not $100 for most people. So if these benefits are cut, what's going to happen to your labor supply response? So the key issue in empirical public finance in the whole economics field really is separating causation from correlation. What does correlation mean? Two things that are correlated means that two economic variables move together. So for instance, you start getting Christmas cards, then Christmas arrives, while the Christmas cards didn't cause Christmas. Okay, so therefore it's similar to that. There's just this correlation. Causal means that one of the variables is literally causing the movement in the other variable. Okay, so we are, as economists, we are interested in the causal effects of government policy. Okay, so it is very important to know the difference between correlation and causation. The reason we want to be able to differentiate, because we care about causation, we don't care about correlation, but you need to be able to differentiate between these two. Otherwise, the policy may not have the intended impact. Okay, so let me give you a couple of examples. Here are examples of important distinction between correlation and causation. So this is a Russian peasants example. Okay, there was a cholera epidemic back in the days. Government sent doctors to the worst affected areas in Russia to help. Peasants observed that in areas with lots of doctors, there was lots of cholera. So this is maybe one of the first conspiracy theories. And peasants concluded that doctors were making things worse. It's crazy. All right, so based on this insight, they murdered the doctors. Oh my gosh. Okay, so look at this. Do you think doctors were actually causing this epidemic? No, government sent doctors to the worst affected areas. So there's just correlation, not causation. Second example, on SAT preparation courses. In the United States, lots of high school seniors take SAT exam, Scholastic Aptitude Test. This exam is used in some cases in university admissions. Okay, in late 1980s, Harvard interviewed its freshmen and found that those who took on SAT coaching courses scored 63 points lower than those who did not. Okay, so one Harvard dean concluded that the SAT courses were unhelpful and coaching industry is playing on parental anxiety. Okay, so here is a common problem in these two cases. Case 1, Russian peasants example. Case 2, SAT preparation course and Harvard dean's interpretation. So they interpreted a correlation as causation. This is a very important part. For any correlation between two variables A and B, there are three possible explanations for these correlations. So A and B, there is a correlation. There are three potential explanations. Either A is causing B, B is causing A, or some other factor is causing both. Okay? So Russian peasants example, there are some possibilities. Maybe doctors cause peasants to die from cholera. Maybe they're incompetent doctors. Second one, higher incidence of illness caused more physicians to be present, but peasants went with the first explanation. Second example, Harvard SAT score and Harvard Dean interpretation. Two possibilities. SAT prep courses worsen the preparation for the SATs, okay? Or kids with poorer test-taking ability take preparation courses to catch up. Therefore, SAT courses are not making them worse off, but maybe SAT courses are even helping them. They could have been doing even worse. We don't know. So Harvard went with the, with the first, Harvard Dean went with the worst explanation, which is not true. This is the more, reasonable one. And that's exactly, or Russian peasants went with the first explanation, even though second explanation is more plausible. Or look at this one. Nervous kids both take preparation courses and do the worst on standardized exam. So could be, right? Even this one, second and third one, right? Harvard Dean unfortunately chose the first one, okay? So peasants and Harvard Dean could actually be correct, okay? Odds are, however, the odds are they're misinterpreting the underlying process at work. So for policy purposes, we care about causation, okay? So two factors are correlated gives you no predictive power. You're just looking at the relationship. Oh, great, I'm starting to get Christmas cards, therefore Christmas must be around the corner. But Christmas cards don't bring about Christmas. Think about that. So again, we care about causation, okay? So we're going to talk about in part 2, the gold standard of empirical analysis. We're going to talk about randomized trials, and we're also going to talk about bias. I'll see you in part 2. Bye.